Hello, welcome to Information Technology Video Developer Network. My name is Rashid Hamid. I am a certified Microsoft specialist working for Cyber Bionic Systematics. Our first lesson will be an introduction to C# language. Are you ready? Let's start our lesson. Now, on this slide, I'm going to give you a brief history of C#. But before that, I told you that C# is a programming language. But what is a programming language? A programming language is basically like any other language that you know. You speak English, and it's a language. Basically for human beings speaking English. C# is also a language like English. But then, C# is for the computer. It is a language that you can use to give commands to the computer, for the computer to understand, process, and then give you a result or an output, basically to do what you want. So, that is what a programming language is. C# is one of these programming languages. We have a lot of them. Some examples of programming languages are C, C++, Java, Visual Basic, Pascal, etc. Now, C# is one of the languages, but it is one of the best. C# is a language used to write programs for MS platforms. But who created C#? C# was created by Anders Helsberg, a Danish programmer, and a group of developers at Microsoft. So, C# can be used to write programs for Microsoft. Simple. Again, C# as of now is the most popular language. Why is it the most popular? Because it is easy to use. Why is it easy to use? Because C#, although it is very similar to C++ and Java and some other languages, but it is easier than them. It takes the best part of them and put it into itself. It is like having a language that would allow you to do a lot of work with a little input. On the screen, you can see that C# is an object-oriented programming language. Object-oriented programming language means that this language can be used to represent physical objects like pens, buildings, computers, etc. It can be used to create these objects in a virtual form in your computer. So C# is very useful to architects. C# is very useful to doctors, engineers, basically everybody. C# is easy to understand. It's easy to learn. That is why everybody can learn C#. Now, C# refers to a family of languages with a C-like syntax. I told you that C# is most similar to C++ and Java. The name C#, if you are wondering, was inspired by a musical notation where a sharp indicates that the written note should be made a semitone higher in pitch. But that wouldn't be of much use to you. So let's move on to the next line. The names of programming languages are not to be translated. It's just like that. C# is C#. So pronounce it C# and make life easier for yourself. Okay, let's take a look at some of the applications that can be created using the C# language. Using the C# language, we can create desktop applications, create web applications, utilities, applications for mobile devices, game applications, and also we can create business solutions. On the next slide, we're going to take a look at all of these applications that can be created in more detail. The first one on our list is the desktop applications. These are applications that run on a desktop or a laptop computer without requiring the web browser to run on. Some of them include Microsoft Office, PowerPoint, Excel, Word, your media player, calculator, and so on and so forth. The next on our list are web applications. These are applications that are stored on a remote server and delivered to your computer over the internet through a browser interface. For example, the Microsoft Office 360. Here you can see a diagram representing the working principle of Skype. The way this works is very easy. We have a server and 3 clients for easy understanding. The server is the processing center. It is also called a service provider. The 3 clients at the bottom are basically the service consumers. 2 of them are active, 1 is inactive. The inactive client cannot receive messages when he is offline, but nevertheless, messages sent to him or her can be delivered as soon as the client goes online. Now, a message sent from one client to the other first has to go through the server. So, if, let's imagine the client in the middle is client 1 and the client at on the left is client 2. If client 1 sends a message to client 2, the message will first go to the server, it's then processed, and then sent to client 2, and vice versa. Mobile applications are applications that can be installed and run on your Windows Phone mobile devices. These applications include mobile music players, mobile games, calculators, calendars, WhatsApp applications, Viber, and so on and so forth. Also, we have mobile clients such as Facebook clients, Twitter clients, LinkedIn clients. And let's move to the next slide. We can also use C# to write game applications for the Xbox 360 game console. And the most important types of applications are business applications. Using C#, Microsoft creates very important applications used in the business world today. Applications such as accounting applications, CRM, client relationship management, ERP, enterprise resource planning applications, BPM, business process management applications, etc. Now that we have an idea of what programming languages and C# are, let's take a look at some advantages of C#. C#, an object-oriented, simple, and yet a powerful programming language that allows developers to create multifunctional applications. I hope you remember what object-oriented means. C# combines the best ideas of modern programming languages such as Java, C++, Visual Basic, etc. C# allows developing software solutions quicker than any other language. C# is reliable and very elegant. Just take a look at the interface and you'll see what I mean. To write applications using C#, you will need to install Microsoft Visual Studio. Microsoft Visual Studio is a comprehensive collection of tools and services that can help you create a wide variety of applications. It is very fast and easy to use. In fact, I can say it's the fastest and easiest way to plan and build your software. What's more, you can actually get it for free. Let me show you how. First, you go to Microsoft.com, click Products, look for Visual Studio, click Visual Studio. Then you go to Downloads, click Downloads, and then you have a variety, or should I say versions of Visual Studio. Here you have Visual Studio Express, which is free, but they have less capability and they have less functions. So I would advise you to get Visual Studio Ultimate. You click Visual Studio Ultimate, and a sub window will open. You can see here it's in English. You can click English if your language is English and download. Otherwise, if you wish to download a Spanish or Turkish or German, you can see you have to download a language pack. But using Visual Studio with in English language, you do not have to do that. So you just download it and install. It's about 1 gigabyte. So the downloading time will greatly depend on how fast your internet is. So after downloading, you just install it like any other program, just fast and easy, and then you run the program. After installing, open Visual Studio. It will look exactly like this. I have Visual Studio 2013 Ultimate, so this is what you should expect. Let me show you how easy it is to create a new project. Okay, so I promised to show you how to create a project. But do you know what a project is? Alright, a project is like a group of files put together to perform something together, to create an application basically. Maybe some of them have different roles, they have different things they do, but in a project they all work as one and create a program for you, or a software, or an application, whatever you want to call it. So now, knowing what a project is, how do you create a new project? A new project can be created by going just to the start and create new project, or you can go to File, Open New, Project, and voila, you have your project. Now, as I told you, a project is a group of individual files put together to perform a unified task. Imagine a group of people put together, like 5 people put together to do something, to achieve a goal together. Now, that can also be called a project. But in programming language, or should I say in C#, we put together files, codes, and things to create a project. Now, here on the left window, you have a lot of things. Windows Store, Windows Web, but we're not interested in these for now, okay? We're interested in C#, and on the right window, you have a lot of things too. You have Windows Forms application, yes, for a project for creating an application with a Windows Forms user interface. Basically, it has a Windows form interface. That means a window will come out, like all the windows that you see that come out to you or pop up to you when you want to click OK, or you want to click cancel or error. You have a window that pops up. That is a very good example of a Windows Forms application usage. Now, they are all used to create applications too. I will show you what type of applications, how, why, and so on. Next, we have Windows Presentation Foundation Client Applications. Formerly, it used to be called Avalon. Okay, it was created, I think, for .NET Framework 3.0. That was about the time it launched. But basically, this application is used to create stunning or build a variety of maybe standout or browser hosted applications, but with a standout or stunning visual graphics, or like they look beautiful and like a presentation basically. All right. Client applications are also created using Windows Presentation Foundation. Next one is what we are really concerned into. That's what I will show you today, or for this lesson. Console applications. Now, console applications are very simple applications. They are, well, if maybe you don't remember, or some of you remember, console applications, well, basically in the past or many years ago, the computer was just a black screen and a couple of commands. To be or to create an application using the computer, or even to use the computer, you had to be very intelligent, like a rocket scientist or something like that. But now it's very easy. But why do we still use console applications? We use them to teach people how to create programs. Well, basically, at the beginning of your programming lesson, we teach how to create console applications, because you need to learn from the beginning. Yes? Let's start a program. Now, what is an application? I know you know it. You have applications on your phone, on your computer, and so on and so forth. But what is a console? Super easy. A console is basically your keyboard and your screen. Your keyboard is the input, your screen is the output. And there you go. I'll show you how to create a simple program using the console application today. So to create this console application, you just click on console. You have to name your program. Yes, you have to do something. By default, it's console application 5 here, but you can change it. I can name mine, let's say Rashid. That's my name. Now, you can name yours whatever you want. You name it, and then you have to specify where your project should be saved, where you want it to be kept. Location. Mine, in my case, it's C, users, Rashid, documents, Visual Studio 2013/projects. Yours can be anywhere. If you need to change that, please click Browse. You can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have Rashid here too. Then I have to change this name so that it doesn't conflict. And you write whatever you want. Chick, 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 chick. And you select folder. If you want to select a folder or something, you select a folder, or you can even create a new folder. Okay? But let's not go into that. Let's just say I want to name it Rashid and I want to save it here. Next, solution name. Your solution name is, well, the name of your application. You can change it if you want, but just leave it like this for now. What is a solution? You know name, but solution. A solution is something that comes up at the right corner of the interface. I'll show you when I start. And a solution is a place where you can keep 2, 3, 4, 10 projects for easy access and integration later on during your program. I'll also show you that, well, very soon. So back to business. Console applications, click, and OK. Project cannot be created because another project already exists in the folder Rashid. I told you about that. So I told you what we changed the name, Rashid 2. Now we're OK. Voila. This is what comes up in your screen. Namespace Rashid 2, because we had Rashid 1 there. Here we have Solution Explorer. That's what I told you. You can see here project 1. If you have 2, 3, 4 projects, they will be here. You have properties, reference. You don't need to learn this now. I'll show you later. You have here, you have home, you have pending changes, refresh, sync with active documents, and so on and so forth. So here you have basically the interface of C#. Name, class. Well, to create your new program or your new project, click somewhere here. Let me show you how easy it is to use C#. It's a good idea to just come down a little, you know, don't make your work look very compacted. So you come down a little, and let me show you a miracle. Let's say I want to type console. I want to give console a command. console. Do you see that? It gives you a lot of options. So you can choose one. Let's say I choose console and I press or type full stop. It's a dot, okay? It's called a dot in programming. You see, it's here. Console is ready. My keyboard and my screen waiting for me to give them a command. It's just like me telling you, let's say your name is, let's say Mark, okay? Mark, so I'm calling your name. Mark, raise your hand. And Mark raises his hand. So it's the same thing here, the same principle. Console, I call the name. Now it's paying attention to what I want to say. And you can see how it helps you. And it's still giving you some options you can choose. But I don't want these options. I want to use right line. You see? Right line, console, right line. And you open a bracket, double bracket, open and close. First of all, just know that you have to put a semicolon at the end. It's how you show the computer that that string is finished, that line is closed. You go in here to your brackets, just put this double quotation marks, and you write what you want. Let's imagine I want to say, hello, Rashid. So I write, hello, hello, Rashid. And I'm here. I go down. Now I want to tell I have given the console a command. I want the console to now show me or give me a result, react to my command, display what I write there on the screen. You can see right line. It means I'm asking the console to write this line in my program. So what's next? You want it to read it back to you. Remember I told you console is keyboard and screen. So right line is like an input. You are inputting something. Right line. Hello, Rashid. Input now. You want it to read it back to you. So what do? You ask it to read. We write console. Then you open read key. Here you have it. Read key. Open and close brackets. And then you put your semicolon. Now guess what? You have just created a program. But I also want you to pay attention to this. Try to divide your lines so that it's easy for you to understand and read it. You know, it's not going to be difficult for your eyes, and other people too can read what you're saying or what you want to write, can read it easily. So let's try it. If you want to run your program now, you have created a program. What's next? You run it. All right? So if it works, it's cool. Let's see. Start. Do you see this button, like a play, green play button? It's basically like run your program. Okay? You just want to run it and get a result. Let's run it. Oh, here you have, hello, Rashid. Easy, isn't it? You see? Very easy. You have hello, Rashid. It's written and displayed. All right. Let me show you something else. Now, we have our program created and run, and it's okay. Sometimes you will find out that you've made a mistake. Maybe you forgot this, in which case your program will not run. You will have a line. Do you see something like a tilde sign here? It's easy. C# will help you. Don't worry. Just hover on that and you will see semicolon expected. Creating a program is easy. Detecting a problem is also easy with C#. So you put your semicolon, and you're back to normal. If I try to run this program, see what will happen. There were build errors. Would you like to continue and run the last successful build? Now, error, you can see here it's semicolon expected. So I go back to my program, I put my semicolon, and I run the program again. Here we're back. Program corrected, error corrected. Okay? Very good. So let's move to the next slide. Before we move to the next slide, let me show you what Windows Forms applications are and how to create them. I showed you how to create console applications. Now I'll show you how to create Windows Forms applications. Windows Forms applications are basically the applications that pop up on your screen to ask you something. Maybe do you want to install this program, or do you want to delete this file, or maybe just click OK or cancel, or shows you an error and asks you what it wants you to do. These are examples. But the definition, or should I say the definition of a Windows Forms application is these name Windows Forms is given to graphical application programming interface, commonly known as API, included in a part of Microsoft.NET framework, providing access to native Microsoft Windows interface elements. This is a long story, but the short story, or in short, what you just need to know is it's a type of graphical interface that comes up and you work with it. The difference between a console application and a Windows Forms application is that console applications are run in the command prompt. They do not have a graphical interface, whilst Windows Forms applications have beautiful graphical user interfaces. Alright, let me show you how to create one of these. To create a Windows Forms applications, you just run your Microsoft Visual Studio and you go to New Project. Here you have Windows Forms applications, what we are looking for, Windows Presentation Foundation Client applications, console applications, and so on. What we're interested in is Windows Forms applications. So you click OK. If you don't want that, what you do is you go to File, choose New, select Project, and you have the same window. Let me just resize this window so that it's easy for you to see. Alright, then you can choose Windows Forms applications and click OK. Remember, if you wish to name your project, or to change the name, or to change the location of the project on your computer, or the solution name, you are free to do so. So let's create this project. You click OK, and we have a window. This is basically what a Windows Form application is. Now you can see it, and I hope you remember all this: close window, minimize window, and so on. Anything can be displayed here, like buttons, like a lot of things, text, and so on. So let's create a button here and a text box here. We name the button something, and the text box displays a text. To do this, what you have to do is you go to your toolbox and you look for button. You click and drag your button to the window. If your toolbox is missing, what do? You can't create a button. No, you can. What you need to do is you go to View, scroll down to Toolbox, and your toolbox is back. Now, the same thing, we look for button as planned, drag and drop. Now we have a button in our windows, but I need it a little bit bigger. I want it to be bigger, so I click the button and resize it. Now we have our button resized. I can leave it like this, button 1. If I click, nothing happens, but I need a text box to display a text. So you go back to your toolbox, click, you drag and drop, and now you have a text box. You can align it, you can make it bigger, smaller, resize it. Let's leave it like this. Now if I click the button, nothing happens. It's highlighted. So what we do is we want to name the button, and we also want to write a text here. You double click on your button and it takes you to the command code page. We want something to be written in our text box. So we write text. You see it's helping me already. Text box 1, text box 1, and we needed to write a text, and then we assign something to this text. Open double quotation and you write, let's say, hello. Don't forget to put your semicolon at the end. And now we have a text box that displays hello. Let's try and see what happens. We run the program and we have a button. Click and hello. But I still want something else. I want to rename my button. Yes, the box is active now, but I want to rename it. So what do? What I do is, so now we have created a button, and when we click it, it creates or it displays hello. But we need to change the name of the button. We're not happy with button 1. We want to write something else. Let's say we want to write OK, for example. So we go to our line and go down a little just to make it beautiful. We write the name of the button we want to rename. Button 1, it's helping. Button 1. We write text. Make sure that your T is in a capital letter, because it might give you an error. It might not recognize it. So you write text and assign the text you want. Let's say OK. We want to just assign OK. Open a double quotation. Write OK. Let's make that in capitals. OK. And your semicolon. Now if we run it, and as soon as we click on button 1, it will change to OK and display hello. Let's try it and see. Oops, the window is out. Let's bring it back in. So we click button 1, changes to OK, and displays hello. But then again, this message is not what we want. We don't want it to display form 1. Let's say we want it to display Rashid, for example, my name. Okay, let's close this and go down a little. We write this dot texts again, and assign a text we want. For example, Rashid, double quotation, Rashid, and we put our semicolon. Now, when we open or when we run this program, we'll see that a box will open with a text box, empty text box, and button 1. We click on it, it changes to OK, it displays hello, and the name changes to Rashid. Let's see what will happen. We have button 1, empty text box, and form 1. Click the button, changes hello from Rashid, for example. Okay, so this is how these are created. Last but not the least, I would like us to look at compilers. Compilers are programs that help the computer to transform the source code of a programming language into a machine language. Now, the process of creating a software involves several steps. The first step is writing the program. So we write a program using the C# language. The second step is the program is then transformed or translated by the compiler into an executable file, for example, myprogram.exe. The third step is we try to run the program. If the compiler detects some errors in your program or in your code, it will tell you about this program's errors. It will tell you about all the errors you have, and then you try to correct the errors. After correcting the errors, your program should run as intended. Now, before we finish this lesson, I would like us to go back to what we have learned and just do a quick review of all the things we have done in lesson 1. The first thing we learned was what a programming language is. Programming language is a language that helps you to write programs in and applications. The second thing we learned, the uses of C# language. We can use C# language to create desktop applications, web applications, utilities, applications for mobile devices, game applications, business applications. Then we also looked at what desktop applications are. Desktop applications are applications that run on your laptop without requiring a web browser. You can see some examples. Then we also looked at what web applications are. Again, web applications are applications stored on a remote server and delivered to your computer through a browser interface. The next thing we checked was services, how some of them work. We specifically looked at Skype. We also checked mobile applications. We looked at game applications. We also looked at business applications, which are very important. We also looked at some of the advantages of C# language, how easy it is, how object-oriented it is, powerful, and so on and so forth. And of course, we also learned about Microsoft Visual Studio, how to download Microsoft Visual Studio, how to install it, some of the functions of Visual Studio. In our next class, we will look at it in more detail. The last thing we learned in this lesson is all about compilers. These are programs that help the computer to transform a source code into a programming or into a machine language. Here I end the lesson. Our time is running out and our lesson is finished. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson and I hope you will revise it. I would like to thank you for your time and attention. My name is Abdul Rashid Hamid, and goodbye.